Evil institution that we call human trafficking, with over 40 million modern-day slaves worldwide, thousands of them throughout the United States. And many of you have known about this issue and have been fighting against it and working here for years, some even decades. This is an institution that's been around since the beginning of time. But it's really only now that the mainstream, that the public is starting to gain awareness. And so a little over 4 years ago, a dear friend of mine who was a superstar in the law enforcement community, who was a specialized agent with a very special set of skills, left his law enforcement career, everything that he knew, his pension, his security, to start a nonprofit called Operation Underground Railroad. They've done jumps everywhere throughout the world, rescued kids, and then helped them get to a safe place with their aftercare programs. Tim Ballard, are you here? Can you come on up so we can recognize you in Operation Underground Railroad?
I'll be very brief. To invoke history in 1791, when we'll turn the rest over to God and pray for us all as we take our flights this in the next 48 hours and execute this operation, and I am certain we will have success. Thank you so much.
Boastful traffickers. I'm just waiting for your word.
Well, I think we should do 2 arrest teams. And pick them up as simultaneously as possible.
Yes, sir. You absolutely going to need your assistance in this.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We're here to discuss preparations for what we are so excited for. It's a day that we've waited a long time for, and we want to thank my colleague, Attorney General Oknam, who's here with his team, and then our friends at the DCPG, the Judicial Police for Haiti. Our philosophy is it doesn't matter what country the kids belong to or were born in, they're all our kids, and we want to protect all of them. But sometimes
something happened to me once. This was after I'd quit the government and I was already with Operation Underground Railroad. And I was about to go into this compound in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. It was a trafficking center. It looked like an orphanage from outside. It had an orphanage on the wall. And so the police asked us to go in undercover, like we're gonna go buy kids. And I remember sitting outside the gate, and I always fight with this, you know. See, the problem with me is I have 7 kids. So any kid that we're looking to save, the minute I see that kid, oh, he's 6, I got a 6-year-old. Oh, he's 10, I got a 10-year-old. And so it's so easy for my mind just to put, you know, basically superimpose my kid's face, my child's face, on this victim's face. And I'd fight it, and I'd fight it, and I'd fight it. And that's how I would move on, because of those first kind of couple experiences that just almost destroyed me. But as I was standing outside the orphanage, something happened. I looked in, and I saw 28 kids. And that was more than I'd ever seen. And it happened again. Oh my gosh, there's Blaine, there's Jimmy, there's Sam. You know, all my kids are here. And I remember being outside that place. And I thought, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna try to embrace this. I've gotta buy a kid. These people think we're here to buy kids, and they made it very clear within the first 5 minutes, you know we don't adopt kids, right? You know we sell kids. I'm like, oh, of course, yeah, that's why we're here, you know? And I see this little boy walk around from, you know, this dark outbuilding. He walks into the yard of this place. It's a dirty place. It's stinky. It smells like urine and feces, and it was just horrible. And I went up to this kid and I picked him up. And he was my kid. You know, I saw my kid and he became my kid. So I'm holding him, and my partner is negotiating with the bad guys about the price, and I think you guys want that one, okay. And these horrible people are trying to, you know, they're telling us tips on how to evade the police and how they've done this before, how to get them out of the country. So I picked the kid up, and I want to go into the dark kind of outbuildings that are around this compound, but I don't want to look like I'm being overly curious. So I have kids, so I know how to communicate with kids. I get him to point in the room, like as if he's going to show me something. And I look over at the bad guys, and I can tell they're like, he wants to show that guy whatever. So it worked. So I got in there, and it just got stinkier and darker. And as I kind of walked into the belly of this dark building, it got quieter and quieter as I got further away from the sounds of the street and the other kids playing outside. And the quieter it got, the better I was able to hear what was always there, right behind me. And it was the footsteps of this little child who was following me. And I flip around, and there's this little girl, and she's looking at me, and I don't want to cause more attention, so I give her a candy bar. Now again, these kids are starving. She takes that candy bar and she looks at me, and then she looks right back at the little boy in my arms. And without taking her eyes off him, breaks it, like muscle memory, breaks it in half and gives it to him. And I'm just thinking, this is not normal. And then it hit me. Oh my gosh, they're brother and sister. And she's horrified because how many Westerners have been here and picked up a child, and that child disappeared and was never seen again. And this is all she has. The only adults in her life are trying to sell her.
How old is she? 9? You're 9? How long has she been here? How long has she been here? 4 years.
Every 30 seconds, a child is sold. They're sold for sex. They're sold for labor. They're sold for organ harvesting, which is something we're now getting into. There's 6 million children that are forced into one of those 3 categories right now. Modern-day slavery really is the plague of our generation. When you consider there's more people enslaved today than ever before in the history of the world, and the world doesn't know. We need to wake them up. Safe House, Jessica Mass, our director of aftercare, is with them, and they start to open up. They start to talk. And the one little girl, the youngest of them, starts to cry, starts to tear up. And she said, "This is the first time that I've ever felt hope that I can remember." And she proceeded to tell us this story about how when she was about 6 or 7 years old, she was kidnapped in the wake of the earthquake. Her parents were were killed in the earthquake, like so many parents were, and she was left an orphan instantly. And this nice woman comes up, tells her that she'll take care of her and to come with her. This was happening all over in the wake of the earthquake. In the case of Rosie, I mean, she was 6, 7 years old, gets a hold of her, promises to take care of her, and instead puts her into a life of sex slavery. And this was so crazy. She said, it's amazing that you guys came and rescued me on January 12th. She said it was January 12th, 8 years ago, when the earthquake struck. Hey! Hey, buddy. Hey, how are you? This little girl was in the most obscure country in the world. Not only that, she was in the most obscure, darkest corner of that most obscure country, just wallowing in hell, far from anyone who possibly could care. You're so big. It took her 24 hours after the rescue to even talk because she said she couldn't believe that anyone would come for her. Santa Claus? Who's that?
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus? He came? It's what we are trying to do. We intentionally go to the darkest corners of the earth where there is no hope and find these kids. And what that does, apart from liberating children, what that does is it provides hope for everybody now.
You guys are so big.
I mean, where there was no hope, there's hope everywhere. If we can continue to grow our operations and continue to get the support we need, there is hope everywhere for the first time. Okay, scoot over. We gotta have a talk. We gotta have a talk right here. Okay. What's your name? Hey.
You gotta talk to Puppy.
Hey, what's your name? What's your name? Wait, no, not yet. What's your name?
My name is
Colleen.
Jean-Baptiste Cadet.
Colleen Jean-Baptiste.
Cadet Daya.
Yeah. What's your name, buddy?
Jean-Baptiste Daya.
We found that the traffickers were selling kids, and we were able to dismantle that organization. And we had to buy 2 children in the process. We had to buy 2 children. And they were the key to getting the other kids out. And we've told that story many times. But what's special about those 2 children is that I formed a special bond with them. And when we were driving from the orphanage to the Sting house, to the hotel, this little boy jumped up into my lap. And I'm supposed to be this, hard criminal. After the rescue was done, my wife and I couldn't stop thinking about them. Him and his sister. They were the 2 kids. And so we started to work towards adopting them. That was almost 4 years ago. And I just got the email today. The decree came out of Parquet, and their names are now Ballard. They're my children. If I lived in Haiti, I could take them home right now. So all we have to wait for now is passports and visas and that, and then they come home to Utah. Where's Colleen gonna sleep? We have 1 extra bedroom, right?
Yeah, but where's Daniel gonna sleep?
He's gonna sleep with the boys. He's gonna bunk with the boys.
Everything this is.
With Luke.
There are days that I'm like, Tim and I are like, what? Why do we have all these kids? but it just, like you look at this little guy and he is so loved. And just by virtue of the fact that he was born in a family, and that automatically gives him access to this love that we don't even have to think about. It's just there. And there are so many children around the world that don't have that, and that could. There just shouldn't be this much excess with that many children in need.
I'll find him. It's something I don't want to talk about it because I know I will find him. I will find him. One day something will happen, I'll find him.
They won't come round here